Laughter is a funny thing, literally. Humans are the only creatures on Earth with the capabilities of laughter and humor. When people engage in laughter, there's a lot more going on than just smiling and strange noises.
Yeah, I love just laughing to where I'm almost about to cry. I love that kind of laughing where you can't even breathe. It's just like, ah. But that's probably my favorite.
It's great. I mean, how do you feel when you laugh? It feels great. Love it. I look for stuff like that. I look for stuff that's going to make me do that.
When the sides of your mouth start going up and then you start laughing, you just feel a whole lot better than you did.
I feel a bit euphoric, a bit elated. Is that a word?
It is a good word.
Elated, relieved. I think it's a excellent mechanism for stress relief.
On the surface, laughter makes a person feel good, but there's a lot more going on psychologically and socially than meets the eye. Dr. Doris Pizzini of the Appalachian State Psychology Department explains.
You know, we tend to pass laughter off as maybe something frivolous and silly, but it probably does go deeper than that. That it buffers us from stress. It can be used as a coping mechanism. I don't think it's frivolous when we really think about how important it might be.
Stress is inevitably part of everyone's lives. Laughter helps us forget about our troubles, even if it is just for a little while. Laughter allows us to step back and take a look at a stressful situation a little more objectively. A good laugh really helps us vent. One way many people laugh is to watch something funny on TV.
A tarantula! What's wrong with you? My children! Oh! A field mouse! Merry Christmas, Eddie!
The first thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. The kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. Said, California is the place you ought to be.
Since the 1930s, televisions have invaded our households, and funny programming has held our interest ever since.
Probably consistency-wise, Friends.
I like 2.5 Men.
Mama's Family.
Seinfeld, a lot.
The Drew Carey Show.
Seinfeld or Arrested Development or The Office.
I really like Family Guy and The Simpsons.
Frasier. I like Frasier a lot.
I really liked The Office.
I'd have to say South Park.
Yeah, we kind of have this sick humor. Like, honestly enough, our favorite show, besides Friends, is America's Funniest Home Videos. Yep. Like, I could watch it forever. People falling down. Like,
Oh, Everybody Loves Raymond I've recently gotten into.
But my favorite TV show right now, and it's been for like the past couple of years, is Arrested Development.
But myself, I laugh at times when I watch Jon Stewart. I think that's a funny show. It's somewhat slapstick in humor, and I like that kind of stuff. But I'd say not a whole lot, because I'm such a serious guy, basically.
Susan Perry of Appalachian State University's Department of Health, Leisure, and Exercise Science has worked with terminally ill patients and caregivers by using laughter to help them cope in desperate situations.
Generally, people believe that having a terminally ill patient and using humor is two different things. That doesn't make sense to them. But I always found in working with clients that if you can help them learn to laugh at the situation, that they can deal with it a lot better. It's sort of like when people can laugh at things, it's like they have power over a situation that they felt powerless in. And that's what you feel like when you're sick. And it's sometimes what you feel like when you're the caregiver. So caregivers need a lot of ways to cope healthy instead of turning to cigarettes and alcohol and arguing with their spouse. Humor is a way that they can put into their lives to be able to cope a little bit better.
One way to get a good laugh is to catch some live comedy. Lots of people enjoy the rawness, unpredictability, and intimacy of live comedy. Noun is a comedy improv group at Appalachian State. The members of Noun are forced to make up funny scenes from suggestions made by the audience.
no matter what, it's gonna be kind of full of mayhem and fun. I'd say they just honestly want to see what happens, and if we fail miserably, I think they're still gonna have a good time. That would be, I think, why they show up, because they just want to see, wait, 10 people are gonna just make stuff up for an hour and a half? I'll do it. So.
The Legend of the Cookie Dough. Well, listen up, old man. You can't have my cookie. You've come to save me. Take the oracle. Eat the oracle, please. You'll never get it. You can't get it. Give me the cookie dough. I want the cookie dough. Give it to me. Whatever you want to save the world. Quick, I get another. They're coming. The minions are coming. Eat more, eat faster.
Improv is definitely not for the faint of heart. Another type of live comedy that is widely supported is classic stand-up comedy. Now let's step behind the mic with some comedians and see what makes them tick. Greg Lausch is a comedian from Baltimore who's been in the business for 16 years. For Greg, it's tough to put into words what it's like to bring down the house.
I couldn't even tell you. It's the best feeling in the world. And when you've got a room full of people that are hooked into exactly what you're thinking and what you're doing and where you are with it and how you're moving and everything, when it's all working exactly the right way, sign me up. I'll take it. I mean, it doesn't happen every week. It doesn't happen every night, for sure, you know. But when you get that one night where everything just, it's like when the planets align, you know, and it just takes you exactly where you need to be. You're feeding off their energy and they're feeding off yours. I can't even tell you. I didn't even know that was going to happen when I got into it. I just wanted to do comedy.
Rob York has been a comic for 28 years. His favorite part about being a comedian is a little more down to earth.
Free drinks?
Rob and Greg are two completely different comics with one common goal: to make people laugh.
I like variety. I'm a variety entertainer. I'm also a stand-up. I'm also a improvisationalist. I'm also a poet, a very bad poet. I'm also a lot of other things. That's why my show is quite a bit different than the regular stand-up show.
But the way I do comedy is more storytelling, so you sort of have to, that all has to be in there somewhere. There's got to be the idea, what you're just talking about, and then there's the more specific idea, what the funny might be, and then the, you know what I mean, the punch.
These two comics may take different approaches to making people laugh, but what makes them laugh is very similar.
I'll double over laughing at the Three Stooges. You know, but you get a guy on stage that's a really smart, kind of introspective, a guy that's actually saying something, I laugh at that stuff too, you know. If it's good, if it's done well, if it's smart. Like, I think the Three Stooges were smart guys. I think all that stuff is smart comedy. You see something that actually is crafted the right way, yeah, that's good stuff for me.
Take off your hat. Now raise your right hand. Now place your left hand here.
Take off your hat.
Raise your right hand. Now put your left hand here.
Please take off your hat.
Raise your right hand. Now put your left hand here.
Will you please take off your hat?
Raise your right hand. Now put your left hand here.
Take off your hat.
Raise your right hand. Will you get rid of that hat?
Slapstick. I'm a big fan of old-time slapstick.
With all this talk about comics and comedy, it begs the question, what is a joke?
A classic definition of humor is it's the disruption of expectation. You lead somebody down the road in a certain direction, then all of a sudden you go in a different direction, and it's funny.
The idea of a punchline is to take them where they don't expect to be taken. And then you generate the laughter that way. You give them a general setup, and then you give them your version of the take on that setup wherever you're leading them, wherever you want to go.
While working in healthcare, Susan Perry also has a grasp of the physical benefits of laughter.
It does cause the release of endorphins, which are sort of our good feeling chemical in the body, an opiate-like chemical, which gives us a good sense of well-being, of joy and happiness, and I think that's important. It does decrease the output or the production of cortisol and epinephrine, which are stress hormones. So in that way, it might mediate the health effects on the body of stress. Your body makes endorphins in response to emotions primarily. The interesting thing about endorphins is it makes endorphins with intake of certain foods like chocolate and chili peppers. That's why they think that people go for chocolate as a comfort food, because we don't really realize it consciously, but unconsciously we're seeking that endorphin-like effect that we get from chocolate. So when we're under stress, we reach for chocolate to kind of give us that endorphin-like opiate effect of feeling good.
Physically, laughter can do more than just release endorphins. It may even help us fight off diseases.
There have been some studies that have shown that it increases the what we call the natural killer cells, immunoglobulin T cells, which helps with increasing your immunity and your resistance to colds. They think that that may be why it helps cancer patients if they do some laughter therapy, that it may help them cope and live longer.
One author even claims to have dealt with rheumatoid arthritis pains with laughter.
Norman Cousins wrote the book Anatomy of an Illness back in 1979, where he coped with his illness by watching Marx Brothers movies. And with that, he was actually able to have 2 hours of pain-free living. And I agree with that in watching patients, that there's something to be said for humor and watching videos.
Televisions are in 99% of American households, but you can't forget about the big screen.
What's our favorite funny bit? I mean,
Oh, this is awful to admit on camera.
definitely Meet the Parents. I love that movie.
The movie Hitch with Will Smith.
Christmas Vacation.
Tommy Boy, Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, but like, what do we?
Billy Madison.
40-year-old virgin. That's awful. My husband and I can always laugh at that movie.
Thank You for Smoking. It's really witty and funny. I like that a lot.
I never watch movies.
The Wedding Crashers, I loved The Wedding Crashers. That was very uncomfortable, but hilarious.
You know, I'd see him, big fat guy dribbling mustard on his shirt, and you identify with it, and you just start laughing. You know?
Wedding Crashers.
Nice one. Nice one.
Oh, Over the Hedge. We love Over the Hedge.
Number one.
I thought Superbad was pretty funny. I know a lot of people think, but just everything about it just reminded me of a whole bunch of my high school days.
This is terrible. Am I gonna get fired?
Beyond stress relief, laughter also serves as a common bond between people.
There really seems to be kind of maybe a bonding mechanism to laughter. Maybe it's a way to bond with others, to build group cohesiveness. Even with a stranger, you know, you think of a situation where, you know, you're at the grocery store and you and a stranger finds the same thing funny, you would probably experience a surge in attraction to that person, and I don't necessarily mean romantic, but that, you know, you sort of shared something with this total stranger. And so there is a cohesiveness that I think gets activated when you find something funny with somebody else.
The cohesiveness laughter creates is evident in relationships with significant others. In a study with couples who were married at least 45 years, the subjects talked about what was important in their relationships.
When they interviewed males and females about why they thought their relationship had been successful, they found that both men and women said laughing together was one of the reasons why they had been successful. And that's interesting in and of itself, because sometimes, you know, you find gender differences on reasons for why people say, you know, this has worked. They both said that laughing together was important.
Lois and Lawrence were married in 1950. They believe that laughter is a key component in their relationship.
Spending time with our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, being together, laughing a lot, just being with each other, just trying to live life at its fullest and be healthy.
If you don't have laughter in your relationship,
It's
it just can't exist. Like,
yeah, it's a really big deal.
Sometimes a great way to laugh as a couple is to think back at times spent together.
There was something about reminiscing about a funny time that you and your partner had shared that had at least a temporary boost in how happy they said they were.
this morning I rolled out of bed and like literally onto the floor, and her shoe was on the floor. It's like a high heel, and it literally like stabbed me right like in my butt, like in the cheek.
Although laughing creates a bond between people, there is a deeper, almost selfish motivation to social laughter.
One argument is that when you laugh together, there's a validation of the self. And so when you're laughing at what I'm laughing at, there's a little bit of an ego issue being served where you're basically telling me I'm right about this. And so it's like, yeah, you get it and I get it, and so I'm seeing it the right way. If you're with somebody who doesn't laugh at what you laugh at, it suggests that there's disagreement between the two of you, and that if I think it's funny, maybe that means I'm stupid, you know, or maybe it means that I'm immature. So if we're both agreeing it's funny, then our values are similar on this. And so laughter probably is getting at something deeper between the couple, and laughter just happens to be this kind of surface demonstration of, you know, we're on the same page about this.
Many times, the people and events around us can make us laugh just as hard as a good comedy.
My dad is hysterical. He's like a sitcom character.
There's sometimes where I'm with certain people, like my one friend Ryan, like we don't even have to say anything, and I could just laugh.
And my mother is notorious in our family for getting metaphors wrong. So for example, you know, she'll say she was so mad at somebody that she read them the Bill of Rights instead of the Riot Act. And so, you know, you're sitting there, she's being serious, and you're like, the Bill of Rights? Oh, the Riot Act.
Last winter, I was looking out the studio window at WASU, and somebody slipped and fell down the stairs right outside, and they fell a good 20 feet. And I was the only person in the world who noticed this, and it was pretty funny. And I remember watching them, they picked themselves back up, dusting themselves off, and just kind of looked around like, did anybody see that? And I totally did. The window was shut, and I was just laughing my butt off.
Back when I was in high school, me and my friend, we'd run cross country, and so we'd go change out in the same bathroom every day. And every day at the same time, my biological time clock would tell me it's time to go take a poop. So I'd go do that. I usually stay in a particular stall. I use the same one. I prefer the handicap because it's the most spacious. But this particular time, somebody occupied my stall, so I had to get another one. So I went to the one next to it. And so then my roommate walks in and thinks, you know, there's somebody in there in the stall. Obviously, you can notice that, but he thinks it's me. He doesn't know it's somebody else. Then I hear the click of the button on the camera, and he sticks it up over the side of the stall next to me, not mine. The person in that stall was very disgruntled, to say the least, and Eddie soon realized the mistake he made and proceeded to jolt out of the restroom. So it was a pretty awkward situation, kind of humorous, kind of funny. We still laugh about it today.
Sometimes we go out and try to find reasons to laugh, but many times humor finds us in days and moments that we just can't predict. Although all of us have unique senses of humor, with all of the psychological, social, and physical benefits, laughter truly is the best medicine.
That was good.
Here we find the wolf in his natural setting. Next, a pack of camels. A North American greyhound. And here, $2 and 5 cents.
I know a philosophical joke. I heard it on Car Talk, which is on NPR. Have you ever heard of NPR? It's like a radio network that's even on the FM dial. Guy's walking down a beach, sees a bottle in the sand, picks it up, and a genie pops up. Says, I will grant you one of three things. Either perpetual good looks, perpetual wealth, or wisdom. Guy thinks, okay, I'll take the wisdom. And then poof, all of a sudden the genie's gone, he's standing there on the beach. And the first words out of his mouth were, darn, I should have taken the money.